So, I'm on YouTube, of course, because I have no life outside of work. And the big thing right now is harassment. Anita Sarkessian, who's a big old feminist who, from what I've seen, likes to criticize video games for being misogynistic, and she's never played any of them. She's admitted to it. I've seen video footage of her admitting she doesn't even play the video games. She's not a gamer, but she feels free to criticize video games. She criticizes the STEM field for not having enough women. She's a big giant feminist. She perpetuates the wage gap myth. She just perpetuates a lot of these feminist issues that in my 42 years of life, in all my jobs I've ever had, have never in my life seen, but okay. She makes videos and says some things, and other YouTubers or, creators, or however you want to label them, will also criticize her and her arguments. There was a panel at vidcon, and some of her critics, I should say, actually, were sitting in on her panel calmly, from what video footage I have actually seen. Just sitting there calmly, wanting to hear what she had to say about online harassment of women. And she called out one of her audience members who was sitting there peacefully, wanting to hear her side of the story. From my understanding, from the video footage I've seen, he was not instigating anything. He was just sitting there. She called him out, called him names, and went off. And then I watched another YouTuber post a video about his experience at vidcon, and he's a very nice YouTuber. I enjoy his content. I'm not a gamer, he is, but my son is also a gamer, so I try to keep up with that kind of stuff. And according to his video, she was not very nice to him either backstage. There's video footage of her literally downplaying his personal experience with harassment and death threats and whatnot. She downplayed his experience. Made her alleged harassment seem so much worse. And I say alleged harassment because from what I've seen, the YouTubers that I've watched, both male and female, have not actually harassed Anita. What they have done is critique her. And there's a difference. And the problem is I don't think people understand the definition of harassment anymore. It's like the Princess Bride. That line is, I don't think you know what that word means or something. Or that. I'm sorry, I haven't seen the Princess Bride in forever. But anyway, why does this bother me? Well, let me tell you something. I've been accused of harassment at my current job. I am a manager at a place. And my understanding is, as a manager, it is my job to instruct my crew to do their jobs, right? If I see you standing around and talking, and I know that we have a very, very limited amount of time to get everything done, and you're standing around talking and we've been busy, it is my job to redirect you, to say, hey, look, we're slow. Why don't you wash a few dishes and get a few dishes out of the way? Or, you know, let's get the food stocked for the next shift right now while we're slow. I mean, that's generally how I word it. I don't want to get into details because I don't know if anybody will see this, but don't want to put my job out there. But it's my job to redirect you. When I see you talking and I know we have to get stuff done and we have a very limited amount of time to get such things done so that the next shift does not have to pick up our slack, you know, that's my job. And I have actually been accused of harassing. I had an employee just recently walk out 2 hours into his shift, and him and his girlfriend accused me of harassing. That's not harassing. Critiquing somebody's videos is not harassing. If somebody were to actually see this video and critique me on it, I would not consider that harassment. To me, harassment is somebody like getting up in your face, calling you derogatory names, putting you down. Physical violence would be harassment to me. But simply pointing out facts to disagree with your argument is not harassment. Or somebody telling you to do your job, a superior telling you, I hate that word too, to do your job is not harassment. And this whole generation is out of control. You're a bunch of crybabies. Call me a harasser for calling you crybabies, but you everything is taken too personally, and everything is being blown way out of proportion nowadays. Everything. It is okay for Anita to say that everything is racist, everything is misogynistic, and you have to point it all out. Well, if you have to point it all out, is it really racist and misogynistic and patriarchal? Is it really? If you have to point it out, is it really a problem? Or are you harassing somebody? And why is it okay for her to call somebody names, derogatory names, but it's not okay for somebody to say the wage gap is a myth? It doesn't exist. If anything, it's an earnings gap, and I know this because I don't earn as much as my husband, but I don't have a college education, for one, and for two, 3 times I've taken maternity leave. I've taken time off to care for sick children, and whatnot. I mean, that's my choice. If the tables would be turned and I was making more money, then my husband would, of course, be taking the time off to care for sick children, right? I mean, that's the way that our house would run. You know, he has a better job, but his job's not the same as my job. His job required a college education, which he got. My job doesn't require a college education. Okay? But it has nothing to do. If I got a college education and did his job, I'd be making the same amount of money as he did. So, you know, if he didn't get a college education and worked my job, he'd be making the same amount of money as I do. So, you know, I mean, there's laws in place for that. You know, going through a video game looking for Batman's butt under his cape, to me, sounds sexist. To say that there's not enough female characters in video games, and then when creators put more female characters in video games, and then you criticize because all the female characters all have the same body shape, well, then the creators decide to make different body shapes, and then you criticize them because now they're making fat women, unattractive women. I mean, why is it not okay to call her out for that? Why is it okay for us to not say that, make up your mind, Anita. What do you want? Why is that harassing? So, I don't know. I had to get this out. I can't. I'm too old for this, to be honest. Way too old for this. But I don't think the audience member sitting in the first 3 rows, especially the one single one that she called out, even though all of them have criticized her, she only called the one man out. And then she was very, very mean, from my understanding, of a very nice, very fair, very in the middle, very trying to make everybody happy YouTuber. That was why is that okay? Why are people falling down at Anita's feet for her behavior when she's acting like a 3-year-old right now? She's calling people names. She's downplaying their personal experiences. They're very traumatic personal experiences. She downplays them. She's not very sensitive. But she expects everybody to be sensitive to her and to take what she experienced as harassment at vidcon. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. The way I was raised is it was okay to disagree with somebody, and it was okay to have an argument with somebody or to debate. That's the popular term now from what I've seen on YouTube. Somebody. It didn't mean you hated that person. It just meant you had a disagreement with them. It didn't mean you were harassing them. It just meant you disagreed with them. Period. End of story. But now it's like everything gets blown way out of proportion. Even in my job, people, I have had, not to me personally, but my crew tell me that customers have played the race card. It's like, if there's a line of people and I take an order and you don't step up to the register and somebody else steps in front of you, I try to watch that. I try to take everybody's order in order. I do. But if something comes up and somebody cuts in front of you and I take their order, or I'm not paying attention, don't realize they've cut in front of you, and I take their order and they're one race and you're another, does not mean I'm playing the race card. It means that somebody's cut in front of you and I didn't catch it. I was not raised to look at people by their skin tones. I literally was not raised that way. But now it's like every action that you take, especially if you're a white person, every action you take, regardless of what that action is, you're taking that action based on that other person's race. And that's another thing. This whole... But that I can't even get into that right now because I do not have enough memory on this tablet for that. But from what I've seen, I don't think the YouTubers in the audience were harassing Anita. They were sitting there. They wanted to hear her talk about online harassment and how it affects women. That was the whole purpose of that panel. And she wants to get her story out, right? Okay? She wants people to listen to her, right? And then when people sit there to listen to her, she calls them out, calls them names for that. I mean, that's counterproductive to me. It's like these Antifa riots. They have a beef with the government, right? They have a beef with the way America's run, right? But then when you ask them, well, what is your beef? And educate me, please, on your issues, they just shut you down. They don't answer questions. Or any videos I've seen of any kind of social justice protests. You ask them, why are you protesting? And they're like, no, can't talk to you because obviously you're on the other side of the fence. Like, they don't even give you a chance to be educated on their issues, but they want you to know their issues. This world is insane. It has lost its mind. It has literally lost its mind. It doesn't make sense to me. If there's really a problem of harassment towards women online, okay, you would think Anita would want to educate people on that so that we can change our behaviors and how we approach certain situations. If she didn't like the way that YouTuber was approaching her, she had the platform to get her ideas out there. This is how I would like you to approach me. Instead, she just called him out and called him names and made a big fuss. Then when another YouTuber shared his personal harassment experiences, which included death threats and being doxxed, even though technically it was his friend that was actually, doxxed, she downplayed it like it wasn't important. Why? Somebody criticizes her take on feminism, and that's harassment. Somebody delivers a pizza and boxes of feces to a YouTuber or his friend's house, and that's somehow less important. It doesn't, I don't know. That's my rant. That's my vlog for today, I guess. I just had to get that out. I gotta figure out dinner now. Oh my God. That was about it, guys. Anyway, I'll catch you guys next time. I have something to say. I don't know when that'll be, but I got a graduation party coming up this weekend I'm not ready for. And so I really need to get off this device and make dinner and deal with the real world. I will catch you guys later, okay? Later days.